كتاب الله دستوري وخير الخلق أسوتنا.
My 15-year-old was studying biology and his teacher was an atheist. And he came and told me that he was studying biology and he said that his teacher said that we can explain life without God. And I said that biologists should not interfere with cosmology. A biologist should stay in biology and not start talking about cosmology, because that's another science, cosmology. And it reminded me of the joke about the biologists that meet God, and God asked them what they're up to, and they said, well, we've gotten rid of you. And God asked the biologists, how did you get rid of me? And they said, well, we can explain how we got here without you. And he said, well, how would you do that? They said, well, first we take some cosmic dust. And God says, no, wait a second. Get your own dust. Right? You see, because where did it all start? Where did we come from? Even if evolution explained how we have evolved as a species, it doesn't explain where the original material came from. Man cannot bring anything into existence from nothing. He makes organs from already existing cells. The cloning comes from already existing cells. He's now in stem cell research and doing all of these things. Everything that he makes has pre-existing materials. We cannot make anything out of nothing. It's impossible for humans to do that, because nothing comes from nothing. And this is why my own teacher said, كَذَبَ الْمُلْحِدُونَ. The atheists are liars. الْعَدْمُ لَا يُوجِدُ الْوُجُودِ. Non-existence cannot bring existence. الْفَوْضَى لَا يُكَوِّنُ النِّظَامِ. Anarchy or chaos cannot bring order into existence. الْجَهِلُ لَا يَلِدُ الْعِلْمِ. Ignorance cannot bring knowledge into existence. And then he said, إِنَّمَا هِيَ انْتِكَاسُ عَقْلِيٍّ كَمَنْ يَمْشِي عَلَى رَأْسِهِ وَرِجْلَاهُ فِي الْهَوَىٰ. This is the inversion, this is an intellectual inversion of reality, like somebody who's walking on his head and his feet are in the air. That this is something that humans have never believed. And this argument now of the modern atheists, this is an ancient argument. Atheists have always been around. In fact, atheists were actually more sophisticated 100 years ago than they are today. And this is the truth, because 100 years ago they were well versed in philology, like Nietzsche. They were well versed in, they were profound philosophers. Even at the time of Socrates, there were atheists. People forget that Marx, who was an atheist, he did his PhD dissertation was on the materialists, the Greek materialists. So he had studied materialistic philosophy. So this argument, this modern argument, is not a new argument. It's a very old argument, and our scholars dealt with this argument extensively, but people don't read their books anymore. And one of the simplistic views of some of these modern Muslims that deny theology and the tradition of theology, they have no response to these new atheists. They have no response other than to say kuffar. But this is not enough, because Muslims have always dealt with these things intellectually in a tradition called Radd al-Shubuhat, which is refutation of the obfuscations that are brought out by the atheists. So it's important for us to remember that we were created to adore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but to know Him through ma'rifah, and this is through the intellect, first and foremost. And our intellect is a spiritual concept. The intellect is immaterial. It's not of this world. And this is why we don't know where we go when we dream, but we know that we leave this place and we enter into another realm, because we're in a realm that's immaterial.